Hello, welcome back to the channel. We're here to do the mid-year freakout tag, okay? Because we're halfway through the year, and if you're like me, you're an absolutely voracious reader that is constantly excited about all the books that you have ahead of you. But now is the time to do a little bit of reflection on what we've read so far this year. So let's get into it. The best book that you've read so far this year. This one was a toughie for me because, if you may know, I don't really give out 5-star ratings that often. I would say it's probably less than what I can count on my hands in an entire year, and I read quite a lot of books. I just really want my 5-star to be like next level, perfect, amazing, incredible, changed me, you know, kind of thing. But I think Sunrise on the Reaping wins that one. That book was just everything that I needed, wanted, hoped. You know what I mean? It was just everything. It was everything. I cried my eyes out. I laughed. I felt nostalgia. I felt hope. I felt everything. Every emotion under the sun, Suzanne Collins delivered. So I think that's the best book that I've read so far this year. But again, because I really don't rate that many books 5 stars, my 5-star selections also get honorable mentions, which the only other 2 5 stars I think that I've had from this year are Great Big Beautiful Life by Emily Henry and Last Night at the Telegraph Club by Melinda Lowe. Best sequel you've read so far this year. I'm gonna be boring and say Sunrise on the Reaping by Suzanne Collins. Guess what? It's my favorite series of all time. The fact that we got this book, I was flabbergasted and so happy. This is what we've all been waiting for, is what I'm saying. New release you haven't read yet, but you want to. Bury Your Bones in the Midnight Soil by V.E. Schwab. I read Addie LaRue. Actually, I listened to The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue with our absolute icon, legend, queen of audiobooks herself, Julia Whalen. I can't decide if I want to listen to or read this book because I feel like something about Julia Whalen's voice when she's reading a book, especially some kind of like a book like this. I'm also fairly certain that there's vampires in this. If that's true, if I'm remembering correctly, I'm about to go feral for this book. So maybe I'll read it. I think I have it on hold at the library in both versions because I'm really excited. Most anticipated release for the second half of the year. And the answer is probably Mate by Ali Hazelwood. If you watched my Halloween paranormal romance reading vlog from last year, you may know that I became aware of this inclination and obsession for vampire romances, and for some reason, Bride by Ali Hazelwood absolutely struck me in a way that I was not expecting, especially because I was not a Twilight girly. I saw the hype around Twilight, and then I was like, if the books are as stupid as the movies look, I definitely do not want to read them. And that was just me also being very much like, if it's cool, I don't want to do it kind of thing. I was so that annoying, pick-me kid back in middle school and a little bit into high school as well. So if it was popular, you better be damn sure that I was not interested. I was like, no, that's basic, whatever. I was so not into it. So I never read Twilight, but then I read Bride by Ali Hazelwood, and I was like, I get it. I get why people would have gone feral over this. But I'm assuming that Ali Hazelwood's writing is a lot better than Stephenie Meyer's writing, but that's just a hunch. I will be reading Twilight later this year, though. But anyways, that's for another reading vlog. Biggest disappointment. Honestly, The Shadow Bride by Shelby Mahurin. As I was literally just saying with the whole vampire romance thing, I've been trying to dip my toes into multiple different areas of it, and I can confidently say that vampire romantasy is not really where it's at. I like a paranormal romance. Okay, somehow that feels different. I don't know, it just felt very like Sarah J. Maas vibes, and it felt really juvenile, and I wasn't really a huge fan of it. And this book, the first one was fun, not really great writing or anything, but it was entertaining. Second book, just straight up annoying. So yeah, that was probably the biggest disappointment of this year because I was actually genuinely like excited to see where the story went, and it just kind of let me down. It was pretty boring and honestly very forgettable. Biggest surprise, probably 4,000 Weeks by Oliver Burkeman. I was not expecting to like a nonfiction book as much as I liked this nonfiction book. I literally bought a secondhand physical copy like as soon as I finished listening to it at my library, and I was like, I need to go through this again. I need to highlight stuff. I need to go back into this and like study it as a sacred text because I resonated with it so much. It was just so good. It really, really, really surprised me. Favorite new author, whether that's debut or new to you. I don't know if this counts because technically the first time that I read one of her books was last year, at the end of last year, but this year I read 3 more of her books, and I think I've officially solidified that Leigh Bardugo is one of my new favorite authors. Honestly, she has become an auto-read author for me. I love the worlds and the vibe that she creates. Her writing is so good. Her characters are so interesting, and the plots are just fucking immaculate, honestly. I had so much fun reading the Ninth House like series so far. I think the 3rd book will come out eventually, we don't know when, and I've read the Six of Crows duology. I really want to read The Familiar next because the theme of today's video, I guess, is me talking about how much I love vampire books, but I really definitely want to give that one a try, and I feel like she's definitely become one of my new favorite authors. Newest favorite character. Honestly, all the characters from the Six of Crows duology. I love those little babies so much. Oh my gosh, I love those little babies. Those little babies, I love them. My whole heart. I just started watching the Shadow and Bone Netflix show just so I could get a little bit of context because much as I was just talking about how much I love Leigh Bardugo, I've heard that trilogy is not her best writing, that I think she wrote it when she was a bit younger and it's a bit like messy and a bit YA, and it's just like not as focused as her other more recent books. And I feel like once you've read more recent books from an author and then go back in their catalog, it's kind of hard to do that. So instead of reading the trilogy, I figured I would just watch the show so I can visually get an idea of what the world is kind of like. And when I tell you, I screamed when Kaz Brecker came on the screen because I knew it was him. He was walking through and then I saw the cane and I went, that's my baby. That's my little guy. That's my small sir right there. I just feel so protective over them, like the tiny children, but they're so lethal and deadly. I love them all so much. Ray is reading Six of Crows right now. He just started, and I'm really excited to see what his thoughts are. I will definitely keep you guys updated. Okay, and then do you want the list of books that made me cry? Let me look at my notes because it's a long one. Last Night at the Telegraph Club by Melinda Lowe, The Anthropocene Reviewed by John Green, The Hunger Games, Catching Fire, and Sunrise on the Reaping by Suzanne Collins, Crooked Kingdom by Leigh Bardugo, Great Big Beautiful Life by Emily Henry. I'm surprised it wasn't more, honestly. I cry at books all the time. So yeah, those are the ones that made me cry this year. Book that made you happy. I wanted to give the one that like actually brimmed me with the most amount of hope, which is The Anthropocene Reviewed by John Green. Because holy shit does that man know how to pack an emotional punch. He's having me crying in one short essay, and then the next short essay I am like believing in joy and hope again. So I would say that that's pretty good writing in my personal opinion, and I definitely would love to buy a physical copy of that book as well, because I feel like every once in a while if I just feel like the world is crashing down around me, aka right now, if you've been paying attention to the news, I feel like just reading one of his essays will really just like imbue my spirit with a little bit of hope for humanity, that the world can still be a beautiful place, if you know what I mean. So yeah, The Anthropocene Reviewed by John Green, fantastic book, especially if you grew up reading his books. 100% recommend. Most beautiful book cover so far this year. I haven't had a ton that were like incredibly encapsulating in my personal opinion, but probably Starling House by Alex E. Harrow. I think out of all the covers of books that I've read this year, that one is probably the most visually striking and beautiful to me personally. And what books do you want to read by the end of the year? I really want to, like I said before, I really want to reread Bride in preparation for Mate. I also really want to read more vampire romance. Actually, this year's Halloween reading vlog is going to be me reading all the iconic vampire books that have come out. So I'm uber excited for that one. I'll probably do the reading vlog where I do all of those, non-spoiler, and then do an extra long reading vlog for my first experience reading Twilight as like a separate video, just to give you guys a little treat. And also because for posterity, I would also like that, because I feel like it'd be funny and interesting and potentially help the Twihards relive that experience of their childhood. I don't know. It's actually, I found out, the 20-year anniversary of that book coming out. At the end of September, it'll be 20 years since Twilight came out for the first time, because it was like the end of September in 2005. So that's really crazy. I feel like now is the perfect time for me to actually finally get into reading it. So anyways, other books that I really love to read are a bunch more of the arcs that I am in possession of, because the list keeps growing and I keep not reading more of them. Maybe I'll do another 24-hour reading challenge readathon video so that I can get more of my arcs out of the way, because I read a lot of arcs in the last one. And then I would also really like to read a bit more of my physical TBR, because I would really love to start collecting books that actually mean something to me instead of holding on to books that I may or may not like because I haven't read them yet. So maybe just thinning out my physical TBR so that I can start collecting books that actually have meaning to me instead of just holding on to a bunch of random ones that I don't give a shit about, you know what I mean? So yeah, I think that's pretty much it. Would love to hear any of your thoughts in the comments, because you know I love talking to you guys, especially about book-related things. I literally sit waiting for comments. I'm like refreshing all the time, like waiting to chat with you guys in the comments every time I post a video, but especially on my booktube channel. So please talk to me in the comments. Let's chat. I want to talk about books. I want to talk about your thoughts, your feelings, all that stuff. I'm really excited about reading even more books the rest of this year. So thanks so much for watching this video. I will see you in the next one. Till then, I'm sending you all my love, because we're all just trying our best out here. Okay, bye. See you later. Happy reading. See you. Bye.